It's like he's just turned up with a gun, and they just like completely misinterpreted it as the voice. Where it's just like he knocked a man down with just the loudest sound he'd ever made.
Welcome back to the internet's number one fake history podcast, The Lore Boys. Hosting today is me, your host, the forgotten 10th Divine, Ethan Palmer. With me, as always, is number 11 and 12. Say hi, guys.
Hey, it's me, James Miller, with the Daedric Dick.
You stopped worshipping me and I died. It's Pete.
Yeah.
My quest reward is good in most games, but bad in Skyrim for some reason.
Thanks for listening, everybody. If you're new to the show, we're three goobers who are going to talk about the Elder Scrolls a little bit. Thanks so much to all our patrons. If you subscribe to our Patreon this week and you're expecting your shout out, just know that we recorded an episode yesterday, so it's not coming until next week, your shout out.
Yeah.
But thank you nonetheless for subscribing.
Yeah.
We'll be talking today about the 9th Divine from the Elder Scrolls lore, the mortal man Tiber Septim, who became Talos.
Cool. Okay.
And it's, Pete, this episode was made for you. It's an Elder Scroll episode, and we're going to go into the government conspiracy behind Talos and Tiber Septim.
Hell yeah. Okay.
So.
We should have had one of the guys from QAA on in that case. Like, when you said the 10th Divine, I didn't know if you were doing a bit or if we were going to do like the split between Sheogorath and Jiggalag, where like the Daedric Prince of Chaos and Order are the same dude, right? And that's like the main plot of the Shivering Isles for Oblivion.
Yeah, but they're Daedric princes, not divine, right? Like there's
of course.
There's the 9 divine, or there's the 8 divine, the 8, and then there's a whole bunch of Daedric princes. There's like
14 or 15 or something, yeah.
16, I think, that are like accepted because you get the in one of the prayers, it's like you read for the 9, and we'll talk about who the 9th is, this mortal man, Tiber Septim. And then you read it lists the 16 Daedric ones backwards. So it's like entirely backwards, the prayers for all the Daedric.
Cool. Yeah. I've been out of the game too long, so I did mix up my demons and my gods. I'm sorry for my heretical comments.
Yeah, we talk tomorrow on the bonus content about how Pete hasn't played Skyrim since
2018
or something like that. Yeah. For shame, dude. You can't even enjoy a 13-year-old game anymore. What a snob.
Meanwhile, I installed Necrovision, which I may or may not have played at this point when you hear this.
Yeah. How many Daedric princes do you say there were?
I think 16.
There's 15 artifacts in Skyrim that you can collect of the Daedric artifacts.
But maybe it's the Sheogorath split then that he only has one. I don't know.
The Sword of Order, is like the weapon you get from Jiggalag in Oblivion, I think.
Okay.
The Squirt of Order.
The Squirt of Order.
So let us begin, as we begin each podcast, with a prayer. Scion of Emperors, King of Earth and Sky, Lord of the Shining Hosts, Protector of Oathmen, Femen, and Yeomen, Guarantor of Right and Justice, Broad Blessing of Thrones and Powers, Cynosure of Celestial Glory, the Most High, Tiber Septim. Let's start with what do you guys know about Tiber Septim, about Elder Scrolls generally? If you're listening to the show for the first time and you don't really know anything about the Elder Scrolls, I'll do my best to give a bit of explanation. We do have other episodes which will go deeper in depth with some of the basics of the Elder Scrolls. But what do you guys know about Talos?
Well, I know Talos is like the deified version of Tiber Septim, who I think was like a Nord conqueror. Also, not the first Dragonborn, because that's Miraak, but like one of the first Dragonborn. I think he not a Dragonborn. Because he's asked his godly
we'll get into whether he
is
or he isn't. So how the show's going to work is we're going to go over the official Imperial story, which is straight up from a propaganda pamphlet. The Pocket Guide to the Emperor, first edition, which is it's a physical booklet you got, I think, with Redguard, the Elder Scrolls Redguard.
Oh, cool.
And so it's a physical book, but it is in canon, written as though in canon, and it's annotated by a mer, by an altmer or an elf that doesn't have a name, just the initials YR. We've talked about it on previous episodes. It's a good source for a lot of lore. So it's this in canon propaganda pamphlet that was printed by the Empire. That you get that like the official story of Tiber Septim, and then
Okay.
we'll go through another in-game source called the Arcturian Heresy, which paints a different picture of him, and we can discuss
Okay.
why we think which one might be right. Probably the most likely story is that neither of them are probably 100% right. Like there's probably
Right.
pieces of each that is true, and
Okay.
pieces of each that is false. But
Yeah, he like conquered. He united the empire. Like he's the reason that the continent is divided up into provinces, and like the imperial city is at the center because he was like he's the first emperor. Like Uriel Septim is Patrick Stewart in Oblivion,
yeah,
and Martin Septim is his bastard son. Like it's his last name is still linked to the Amulet of Kings or whatever the fuck it was
the
called.
Amulet of Kings, the Staff
Yeah.
of Tiber Septim, which is
That's it.
a big one in Daggerfall, like a big artifact in Daggerfall.
Yeah.
Jamie, anything to add?
Nah, I didn't know more than that. I think there's that one guy in Whiterun when you're running up to Dragon Reach, and he's like right next to the fountain there before you go up the stairs, and he's like, "The word of Talos," and he's just yelling there the whole time. Yeah.
So
That's about all I remember.
specifically, worship of Talos, the ninth divine, is illegal in the Empire, and that's like the inciting incident for the war between the Nords of Skyrim and the Empire. Why the Nords are revolting is because they're not allowed to worship Talos.
Right.
Why they're not allowed to worship Talos is because there is a strenuous pact with the Aldmeri Dominion. Like there's not a pact, sorry, but a truce. There's like a ceasefire in this like ongoing devastating war between the Empire and the High Elves. And one of the conditions of that is that in the Empire they have to cease worshiping Talos because the elves think that he's apocryphal and that he's heresy to worship like a mortal man, whereas all the other gods are elves, right?
Okay. And the Aldmeri Dominion is one of the three pacts of all of Tamriel. One being the Ebonheart Pact, the Aldmeri Dominion, and then there's a third one that I don't remember from Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about ESO or like how those, like what kind of weight those hold. I also don't know when the Elder Scrolls is set, though. I think we've said it's the most like current of the timelines in the past, right?
The most current is Oblivion. Is Skyrim.
Okay.
It's set in the 4th era. I remember, I don't know what the expansions have gotten to yet, but when ESO launched, it was 1,000 years in the past, which I remember irking me because I'm a dork.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
where it's like 1,000 years and nothing changes between then and Skyrim. I'm just like, it's too long. So, no one should be using fucking swords anymore. This is stupid.
Okay, so let's just jump into it. You guys did pretty good. I guess it's just a good context for you and the listeners at home to know that Worship of Talos, as of Skyrim, like the most current games, it is outlawed. I mean, there's like this like great argument that it's like outlawed on paper, but the Empire did not enforce it at all. Like they weren't like raiding people's houses to stop them from worshiping Talos because like the Empire also worshipped him. He was the emperor of their
course.
city.
Yeah.
And so like the Nords, and so they agreed to this truce and agreed to ban the worship of him just to buy themselves time to like rebuild their forces so that they could go to war with the Aldmeri Dominion again. And the rebellion in the north is now crippling the Empire, and like the Nords are making it harder for it to be legal to worship Talos again by revolting in the first place, essentially. Whereas if they had just like abided by it and continued to like worship in secret long enough for the Empire to build up its forces, they would have been on the same side in the end. But,
yeah, so the Empire is basically just like doing basically a psyop, but they haven't told anybody they're running a psyop. So you've got like all these go-getter Nords who are just like, well, the Empire's not doing anything, and if they are, they're not telling us. And they're just like, oh, please don't fuck up our conquest of the throne or like
it's just farmers who just like, well, what do you mean I can't worship Talos in the privacy of my own home, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you can. I can't tell you that you can, though. So before God was God, he was a man, or half man, maybe. Depends who you ask. We'll get into it. Whichever truth you believe, Tiber Septim was born in the year 828 of the Second Era. So Pete just said some reference. Oblivion is set at the end of the Third Era. The Oblivion Crisis is the end of the Third Era that ushers in the Fourth Era. We're going to talk about the end of the Second Era. which is Tiber Septim's unifying of Tamriel, or conquering of Tamriel, is the end of the second era, essentially.
Okay, cool.
And
And we have
then
an episode explaining the calendar too, because it's not like an era is 500 years or whatever. Like the fourth era was like 390 something, and then like
just
Skyrim is
important
in
dates.
4E201, I think, because it's 200 years after Oblivion.
And we're in year 828 of the second era, which spans a really, really long time.
Yeah.
At this time, when Tiber Septim was born, there were 8 divines. That goes for just about every species and race on Tamriel. They all worship 8 divines. They're all the same. They all have different names for them.
Okay, cool.
You know, there's Lorcan, who gave up his body to create Mundus, like the world, the earth that they're on is thought to be believed, or is believed to be the body of Lorcan, this ancient god. He's Shor to the Nords, and we'll talk specifically about him as an example.
They call it Shore's Bones is like or like Shore's Bones is like a saying or a place or something, isn't it? It's like a mountain range.
That's Lorcan. That's
Okay, cool.
is Shore. So it's I believe you're right. I believe Shore's something is in the north, like below the Sea of Ghosts.
Yeah.
Is that mountain range? So pretty much every race in Tamriel believes in these 8 divines. They just call them different things, but they're really this in the canon. They're the same. We've talked about it before. Akatosh is Ariel, is Alduin, is Sakatal. Like those are just different names for the same creature, right? Ariel being the Elvish one, Alduin being the Nords. We know the World Eater, right? Like so. Let's talk about who number 9 once was, because it is 9 divines now. Talos ascended to godhood, or Tiber Septim ascended to godhood. Some believe his worship is still questioned by a lot of people, particularly the elves. Again, they just don't believe that he is a god, and so they believe that the worship of a false god is just like a bad thing, right?
Right. Okay.
As I mentioned, there are 2 accounts to his provenance. One considered orthodox in the Empire, and the other considered heresy. So the Orthodox version comes from the Pocket Guide to the Empire First Edition, a physical booklet that came with the Elder Scrolls Redguard, and contains some lore on Tamriel, various places, locations. Back when video games had these like physical books that came with them.
Yeah, instead of just no disk and a download code printed on a piece of recycled paper.
Exactly. The book is canon in game as Imperial propaganda released by the Empire towards the end of the Second Era in 864. So like he will come to be the Emperor. We'll get to how. And it's, even if it's not written by Tiber Septim himself, this account, the first account that we're going to go into, it was written by those who served him in his empire, in his like he would have had oversight on what exactly was getting published out of his official
very news media-esque, right? It's just like, make sure the Pocket Guide to the Empire doesn't say that Tiber Septim is mostly tired and he works from 11 to 2 and we have to get him out of bed for the nuclear codes at 4 in the afternoon, right? Make sure no one knows that.
It's just like real church doctrine in the Catholic Church, to be honest. Like, they just they own the printing houses and we're like, we just publish whatever we want about anyone.
Little sleepy Tiber.
From that booklet, okay, I'll start us off with a quote here. We have the Song of Tiber Septim. The quote goes, from the oaths.
You gotta
go ahead.
Aren't you gonna sing it? It's a song.
No, I believe this is I don't know if it's this one or if it's later. We're gonna go into the 5 songs of King Wolfheart. I believe it's a summary of the song written by somebody.
Got it. In that case, this makes sense then.
Yeah. From the Odes, he was born in Atmora as Talos Stormcrown in the language, or Talos Stormcrown in the language of the ancient Elnofe. And it was from that shore he sailed. He spent his youth in Skyrim among the Nords. There he learned much from the tongues and their chieftains and their ways of war. At 20, he led the invasion of Old Hroldan, taking it back from the Witchmen of High Rock and their kinsmen. Soon the Greybeards made known that they were restless. Already the storms had begun from their murmurs. The Greybeards were going to speak. The surrounding villages were abandoned as the people fled the coming blast. The villagers warned Talos to turn back, for he was marching to the mountain where the Greybeards dwelt. Inside he went, and on seeing him they removed their gags. When they spoke his name, the world shook. The tongues of Skyrim told the son of Atmora that he had come to rule Tamriel, and that he must travel south to do so. And it is true that Talos did come to Cyrodiil shortly after the Battle of Old Hroldan. And it is true that a great storm preceded his arrival. A lot to unpack there, obviously. A couple little footnotes. Elnofe, you guys will remember, is like the ancient elven precursor race.
Oh yeah,
They,
that does sound familiar.
the Greybeards are the monks in Skyrim who teach you the new Dragonborn the way of the voice. So they're the
Right.
monks who live on top of at the top of the world, the throat of the world, is the highest, tallest mountain in Skyrim.
You can also
So
absolutely
gone.
change the weather with dragon shouts. Like
A
there
shout,
are
yeah.
there are two. That one like starts like a thunderstorm that damages your enemies, and one that can clear the weather as well.
Exactly.
There's also like an asteroid one I think that Akatosh or that Alduin uses. So yeah, it's changing the weather is very on brand for this.
Yeah, the voice, again, for people who don't know Elder Scrolls, if you've ever heard someone say Fusro Da, that's the first shout you learn. They're usually broken up into 3 parts, but they're just spells you can cast with your voice if you're one of these Dragonborn, which, according to Imperial accounts, I did write Tiger Septum. Tiber Septum is.
Rar.
Wow. I wrote it again. I must have written it a lot. or G Sheets was just correcting me while I was writing.
Yeah, Tiber Septum united the kingdoms. He cheated on his wife. He was really good at golf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was more thinking that like, yeah, you understand that the Lucky Charms leprechaun is the elven precursor race that the Frosted Flakes tiger Septum managed to conquer.
Right. And I was thinking that Tiber Septum was the villain in the Jungle Book, so we all got somewhere.
Oh shit. We'll have
you
our
got
tiger
me?
references.
You're making me think how you would break down their great into 3 parts for the way of the voice, but that's why the is so long. You got there,
Okay, yeah.
Eight, yeah.
Blast Frosted Flakes at people.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tiber Septum, I'm gonna keep saying tiger. I swear to God, I'm sober. Tiber Septum, according to Imperial record, was born in Atmora as Talos, a word which meant storm crown in the ancient Nernian tongue Elnofex. So Atmora is a continent to the north of Skyrim, past the Sea of Ghosts.
Right.
It is a pretty good place to have your human savior come from if you're doing some myth making. I'm going to say I'm already planting the seeds of doubt in the Empire story, right?
Okay.
So Skyrim, north part of the continent of Tamriel. Atmora is not a part of the continent of Tamriel. It is another continent that is further north that it is said men first came from. That is like where like Mer being the elves, inhabited Tamriel, and men came from Atmora to the north.
Yeah, it's it's kind of like the invasion of the sea people, right? Like they don't exactly know why the Bronze Age in real life ended, but like there was like a giant multi-ethnic army that just came from the sea to wipe out everybody. Like it's a similar myth where it's just like, yeah, men came from some unknown continent we've never been to, we don't know where, and they came in and took over the continent, basically, right?
Yes and no. The history is murky. Again, it's all in canon books written by in canon, like in fiction writers. So there's like a lot of biases that we're gonna have to parse out. It seems to be like partially that. Yes, you're absolutely right. Humans do come as conquerors, and I mean we're going to talk about Tiber Septum conquering all of Tamriel, including all the Elven states. But there also are accounts of them like trickling in, sort of like early humans, like Native Americans came to the Americas, right? Where they trickle in over the land bridge is like the common theory. There seems to be this like, hey, there were kind of like native-esque humans here that were also pretty poorly treated by the elves. But we'll talk about that story as well. So at the end of the Metheric era, the 1E, when the Mer were the only dominant race on Tamriel, it's believed that these first humans came from Atmora. A migration over hundreds of years of pre-literate humans is believed to have given birth to the Nords, Imperials, and Bretons.
Okay.
A little bit contradicted by some Nord myth, which says that...
Just to hop in really quickly, if people haven't played, Nords are like Northern Viking people. Bretons are the white people.
They're French.
They're the French white people, and then what's that last one?
Imperials,
who are
Romans. Roman is the parallel.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, Bretons are basically like, it's more of like colonial French, because I think they're from High Rock, and High Rock is still kind of like warm and deserty, so it's like kind of southern French race living in Algeria, I guess would be the...
Yeah, and I mean, like, this is very, very early, so like the Bretons that they're talking about here would have been like humans. Eventually, like Bretons share lineage. They are half elves. They share lineage with Mer and with men, right?
Oh,
So-
interesting. That's why I guess that's why they have the highest magic pool out of the human races in
Yeah,
the game, right?
that's exactly it. Is that like
Cool.
pretty much every Breton has some level of elf blood in their blood. It's not like dad was a elf, mom was a human. It was kind of like this mixing over probably generations and generations, right?
Right. Okay.
Right.
And
So
you talked
this-
about the natives coming over the land bridge. The term for the pre-Native American cultures is they're called the Paleo Indians. So this would be like the Paleo Bretons, right?
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this story of like migrations of hundreds of years, again, the history is a little bit murky. There's a Nord myth which contradicts it, which says that the first men came into being on the throat of the world in Skyrim. So some Nords believe that the throat of the world where the Greybeards live, that monastery on top of the tallest peak in Skyrim, is where humans came from. I'm less inclined to give that one any weight, honestly. It's no matter if man came from Atmora or from a mountain. The snow elves of the north didn't like pesky humans in their frozen wasteland and waged a campaign of genocide against the early humans, destroying their city. I didn't write it, Sarthrakal or something like that. I should have written it down, but it's a place you can find in Skyrim. It's a ruin in Skyrim you can find. They destroyed their city in what we called the Night of Tears and driving the men of the north to Atmora. So even though man had come to Skyrim at some point, the Falmer, the snow elves, who are a mostly extinct race when you actually play Skyrim, they had gone to war with humans in the past and committed this genocide against them to drive them out of Skyrim. Again, this is the Imperial account. It's around this time, after this point, when Talos Stormcrown is said to be born. From this place, at Mora, we have another legend from humanity's past, Ysgramor. One of the most legendary heroes of men. It is from Ysgramor's line that all Nordic kings descend, and you meet Ysgramor in Sovngarde, the heaven for the Viking warriors, essentially.
Right. Yes.
In Skyrim, you meet him in the halls of Sovngarde at the end of Skyrim whenever you're getting ready to face Alduin.
Right.
You meet him there as like the first true Nordic hero. So again, we're myth making right now, right? We're the Empire, we're printing these pamphlets and we want to build this myth around our guy. And so you say he comes from the same place as that other legendary hero from which all the lines of Skyrim descend. Again, it's kind of like he walked in the same steps as other Nordic kings, because no matter which account you believe, Tiber Septim made his name as a fighter of Skyrim, as a fighter of the North, as a fighter kind of marching south towards the Empire's capital.
Okay.
And his mother never had sex. She just gave birth to him immaculately.
True.
And
He's also a big fat tubby guy who doesn't wear a shirt ever. He's always looks really brown, and he can turn his hand into mountains.
Elephant dude with 6 arms as well.
yeah, that's true. That's
you believe
true.
that one. Yeah.
got it.
So it's from Ysgramor and his companions waging a brutal war of extermination against the snow elves and other Mer in Skyrim that made the rise of man possible at all, eventually establishing the first empire of man. So it was Ysgramor who like made humans on Tamriel a thing, which again, if you're myth making, probably a good person to have your guy walking in the same footsteps, because like he did almost drive the Falmer to extinction. And then also pretty much drove all the other elven races out of Skyrim. Was he and his 500 companions, they're called.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that from Skyrim as well. Yeah, and also like because I looked up. So the snow elf ruin is called Sarthal. I did pull up the clip there while you were talking. I grabbed that. But also the snow elves were driven underground and enslaved by the dwarves, which is why when you fight the Falmer, they're like blind goblin monsters. Outside of one of the expansions, where you do find one who has been like trapped outside of time, and they are like porcelain white-skinned elves, opposed to, that's just what they look like. They have their own like armor style and as well. And
we have done an episode on the dwarves, so check it out. There should be a link in the description. I could easily do a full episode on Ysgramor. I could easily do a full episode on somebody we're going to talk about later named Wolfheart. There's too much Elder Scrolls lore, so yes. You're right, Pete. I didn't want to dwell too much on the technicalities of who killed the Falmer specifically. I believe I'm going off memory of a timeline that I read really quick. I believe it was like they were already mostly driven underground by the dwarves to some extent. The dwarves being were they the
Dwemer.
Chimer?
The Dwemer.
The Dwemer, right. But yeah, I guess it was kind of like convergent genocide. I guess like
It's like
coming
convergent
out from both
evolution.
ends.
It's how bats and bugs can both fly.
The opposite of convergent evolution. Yeah. So
elves and elves can both die.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
If it wears green and helps Santa Claus, it bleeds. Despite being allegedly born in Atmora, Talos grew up in Skyrim, according to Imperial doctrine. There he learned to fight and served in Falkreath under the then King of Falkreath, Kulakane, where he became General Talos Stormcrown, excuse me.
Okay.
Falkreath, you'll remember, is one of, I think, the southernmost province in Skyrim. So when you start the game and you come out of the crypt after escaping Helgen, you go north to Whiterun, the holding of Whiterun, and if you go south, you end up in Falkreath. If you go south along the road, you end up in Falkreath. If you go north, which like the game kind of naturally steers you north, if you just follow the path as the game would have you find it, you'll end up in Whiterun. But
yeah, Falkreath, I think that's where the quest with the dog starts.
Yeah,
the talking
that
dog.
is the talking dog. You go through Falkreath and he meets you on the other side, essentially.
Yeah,
Who is Hermaeus Mora? I don't remember which one.
Clavicus Vile, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Second Era, 840-ish, let's say. We have Talos Stormcrown, born in Atmora, has come to Skyrim at some point in his youth. The first kind of like histories we have of the man are serving under this King Kulakane, the King of Falkreath. He's the king of, it's called something else. I'm going to call it Falkreath because it's just a better touch point for people these days, I think. But he is essentially the empire at the time. So Ysgramor had set up the first empire of man. At this point in history, the second empire of man has fallen. About 400 years ago, before Talos was even born, the Akaviri potentate, sometimes called the Second Empire, had fallen. In the intervening centuries, so over the last 400 years, a lot of people had vied for control of all of mankind, had vied to try and unite all of mankind under a single banner and reinstate the empire. But it hadn't happened yet. Again, obviously, our boy Talos will be the one to do it. A little bit of a spoiler. Old Kulakane wanted to be that person as well. Basically, every warlord or despot or just ruler of men probably coveted the throne of Cyrodiil, the imperial city at the center of the continent, right?
Yeah.
But it was hard to get. He led a relatively small nation, and the people of both Skyrim and High Rock, he was kind of sandwiched in on either side by High Rock in the west and Skyrim to the north, right? So they kind of border clashes throughout his reign. Eventually, they do combine forces, Skyrim and High Rock, to march on Falkreath and Old King Kulakane.
Well, that's the exact opposite of what he wanted. This is terrible news.
He's got an ace up his sleeve. He sends General Talos to meet them. When he met them on the field, General Talos revealed his secret weapon, the Thu'um, the voice. He has the power of a dragonborn. Again, from the quote that I read you, like the story goes that he walked up the throat of the world, met the Greybeards, and they told him that he had come to rule Tamriel, that he must travel south to do so, and presumably they taught him the ways of the voice then. Imperial dogma. Just keep that in mind.
Right.
With a shout, the Nordic armies of Skyrim defected immediately from the forces of High Rock. So again, the people of Skyrim recognize the Thu'um. It's like very important in their culture. Their myths believe that people were born on the first man came from the throat of the world, right? So this place where you learn to use the voice is obviously a very, very sacred place for them. So they see an enemy general using it and they say like, well, we're on the wrong side of history here. We should defect. And they go and join his forces essentially.
It's like he's just turned up with a gun and they just like completely misinterpreted it as the voice, where it's just like he knocked a man down with just the loudest sound he'd ever made.
I mean, yeah, if I had a bow and arrow and somebody in the other team shot a gun, I'd just be like, yeah, never mind, I'm on his team.
Yeah, you know that's a wizard right there. He's casting spells at a distance.
The Bretons of High Rock were sent back home in defeat by the combined forces of General Talos's men and the Nords of Skyrim. with only tales of Kulakain's new general to tell. This is all at a point in history known as the Interregnum. That is that period between the second empire falling and when Tiber Septim is going to, Talos Stormcrown. He's going to become Tiber Septim. There's a lot of people that have multiple names in this fucking story.
Yeah.
If I say Tiber or Talos, it's the same person.
Yeah, or Tiger even as well, the golfer.
Yeah, exactly. Tagos. So Kulakain recognizes that his new general might just be the key to securing himself that imperial throne at the heart of the empire, right? And with Skyrim now pledged him via Talos, he strikes south for Cyrodiil. He's like, I'm going to the center of the Cyrodiil province. I'm going to take the imperial throne, and I'm going to rule.
I'm going to conquer the White Gold Tower, baby.
Exactly.
I don't see having a magic conqueror on my end, who I could literally never even arm wrestle, could possibly blow up in my face. This is how I think this is going to go personally.
Hey, according to Imperial dogma, it sure doesn't. Okay. So the Bretons, those of High Rock, not content to simply lick their wounds, train themselves a magic assassin, a Nightblade, which is like a subclass in the game, I guess you'd call it. And
it
send
used
them
to
to
be
the
a
Imperial
character
Palace.
class you could choose, but before Skyrim did away with character builds entirely, Nightblade was like a fusion of like alchemy and like manipulation magic. So you wouldn't use a fireball, you would use like alteration magic, basically.
Yeah.
Now
and mysticism.
A class in ESO, I'm pretty sure now.
It is, yeah. Well, in an MMO, you need classes. You can't just like free ball it because you just have 1,000 people on a server being stealth archers, right? And that's not fun.
So everyone who played a Nightblade, this is you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, okay.
This is the meme, yeah. The stealth magic archer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here's a quote from the Pocket Guide to the Empire, first edition. In Second Era 854, when he's about 30 years old, a Nightblade from the Western Reach made his way to the Imperial Palace at Nibene. There, the Witchman assassinated the Emperor, caught the palace on fire, and slit the throat of General Talos. But from the smoldering ruin he came, one hand to his neck, and with Kulakain's crown in the other. The legions wept at the sight. His northern magic had saved him, but the voice that led them would be more silent from that night on. His word could no longer rout an army with a roar, but he could still command one with a whisper. He took for himself a Cyrodiilic name, Tiber Septim, and the Nordic name of kings, Ysmir, the Dragon of the North. And with those names he took to the red diamond crown of Cyrodiils and became their true empire. Thus was born the third empire of men.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's some bullshit, isn't it? That's so funny. Yeah, it's like, oh, my superpower is I can punch real good, but I just got shot in my hand, so I can't do it no more.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Right?
Strongest punch of the Empire, lost both his hands in war.
Yeah.
I will say it's a good story because he does have the Thu'um. Like he did have the Thu'um. And like he did like shout down armies. Like there's a lot of accounts from like different sources all saying like, yeah, he definitely used the voice to beat back these armies. We'll get into the
talks fucked up. It's like he can't do full Thu'um.
So it's like the cigarette voice box thing.
Yeah. I was picturing he just comes in a whisper like Foos, bro. Da. And then like the steam from his coffee goes away.
Just a gentle breeze, like it just flutters your hair slightly. So just to summarize that quote, according to Imperial dogma, Talos Stormcrown survives an assassination attempt, with a slit throat, while his patron Kulakain does not. This is pretty much like either on inauguration night or like right after. So Kulakain was kind of like being inaugurated or was about to be inaugurated as emperor. Gets his throat slit. His palace is set on fire. His general Talos says he got his throat slit, was able to cure himself with his magic, but he can't use the voice anymore. He can't use his Thu'um anymore.
Did they find the assassin, or did he conveniently disappear and or die while the camera's turned off? Like,
I'm gonna say, like full. I believe in the conspiracy more than I believe in the official account, especially for this particular section. Like, Tiber Septim, Talos would have absolutely had a man killed and kind of like left his body there as proof of it. But we'll get into what exactly happened that night, because I believe there were people dead and there was guards and stuff around. So
okay,
so all of this is right after they got into the heart of the continent, taking control of the imperial throne. It wouldn't be long before Tiber Septim would conquer High Rock in retribution. So the Bretons who had sent the Nightblade allegedly sent the Nightblade. He rallies his troops, says like, "Hey, they killed Kulakane, who was going to be our king. Now, I guess I'll be king now. We should go kill the guys that definitely killed him, right?"
Oh my god, yeah. It sounds like Tiber Septim just like did a 9/11 and slit his own throat so he could go attack the Bretons and also take the king.
Yeah.
But
9/11.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bretons sent an assassin to kill the emperor and slit my throat. Time to invade Iraq.
Pretty much. Well, slit my throat and invade Iraq. I mean, the Lore Boys canon is like, there's no pictures of him with a scar on his throat. There's no other mention of him like having that scar that I read or anything like that. So my Lore Boys canon is like his throat was just definitely never slit, whatever happened. Because it said like, oh, it's slit and it ruined his ability to use the voice, but he could still talk and he didn't have a scar.
And also healed it with magic, with Norse magic, which is just, to my knowledge, barely a thing in canon, right? Like
Exactly. So it wouldn't be long before Tiber Septim conquered High Rock in retribution, and Hammerfall would follow shortly after. So the Pocket Guide continues with a quote. Cyrodiil in the Third Empire is the young, vital embodiment of its ancient heritage. Internally, it has undergone an incredible restoration. Reconstruction of the ruined sections of the Imperial City is nearly complete. Roads and cities destroyed in the interregnum have been rebuilt. East and West are unified for the first time in 4 centuries. Cyrodiil's present stability and strength have not been seen since the Riemann dynasty. Indeed, they were born under similar circumstances. A Westerner winning the Eastern throne, forcing them both into the greatest power in Tamriel. And now, in but 20 years' time, Tiber Septim has secured imperial authority in High Rock, Skyrim, and Hammerfell. Every human region stands with him against the elven menace.
Okay.
Once Talos Stormcrown, now going by Tiber Septim, he decides that the thing to do is to conquer all of Tamriel, right? They got to get rid of these pesky elves. It's kind of, again, going back to Ysgramor driving the elves out of Skyrim. It's kind of always been like the thing that men does. Is like men and Myr traditionally have not gotten along very well. Like man was driven out of Skyrim by the snow elves. The Myr are a much more ancient people, like most fantasy stuff. Like the elves are very ancient, right? And like humans kind of come up later, and
the Bretons are mermans.
Yeah. That's true. They're mermen.
Yeah.
Elsewhere suffered devastating losses. That's where the Khajiit are from, the cat people.
Right,
With the siege of Senchal being so severe that all the war crimes, upsetting historical facts of the siege were stricken from imperial record. I love this part. Black Marsh, right? Because they conquer the human races. There's the humans, there's beastmen, there's humans, there's Myr, and then there's the beastmen, right? Like there's the Argonians and the Khajiit. We did an episode on the beastmen. I also talked, there's like some other like toad people that you don't ever really see much in the game or anything like that.
But slowed or something like that, I think.
Yeah,
there's apparently a very, very cool big ass mod that my buddy Logan played through, where the main villain is like a Jabba the Hutt-esque crime kingpin slowed, which is apparently fun. I can't remember what it's called. It is on Steam, just for free, obviously. But I heard that expansion is very, very cool. If you're interested.
Nice. So he decides like, oh, we're gonna go to war with all the elves. Or like mankind is now united against the elves, and then immediately just goes like conquers the Beastmen nations. Like that's like his first thing off his list. Elsewhere, he just like devastates them. They're hippie stoners that live in the desert, really. Like they just like doing their moon sugar, which is like heroin, and just like vibing in the desert. And he goes and like sieges them and commits such atrocious war crimes that like they don't even have like fake accounts of what happens. They're just like, you don't ask what happened at the siege of Senchal.
I love the term inconvenient historical facts does sound like something you would hear on the news today, right?
Yeah, when they're talking about why they shouldn't teach fascism in high school or whatever, right?
Inconvenient historical facts.
Yeah. Black Marsh proves to be a true challenge for the Imperial armies. One of the very first skirmishes saw a high-ranking member of Tiber's Legion nearly losing a leg after he got bit by a winged snake, essentially, because it's just like this treacherous swamp full of like ancient trees that are older than like any of the races, essentially.
Yeah, we have a full episode on the Argonians and the Hist. It's like, it is so funny how like I just imagine them immediately walking into this like swampy jungle. One guy trips trips over like a vine tripwire and is immediately killed by like a spiky branch trap. And then another guy is just like a tiny little snake. He's like, "Oh, hey there, little fella." And he's like, it like comes and bites him immediately, and then just like flies away. He's like, "Oh," well, it's like so foreign and just terrifying.
Absolutely. Like one guy just trips into like a beehive looking thing, and snakes just like pour out of it. Like.
A guy takes a thimble full of water, just like out of a river, one sip, instant dysentery, just like shitting
just like
pants.
explosive out the back of the. They basically watch a man's leg turn to jelly from a single snake bite, and universally decide that Black Marsh isn't worth it, bro. It's strategically unimportant anyway, bro. Like we don't even need this place, bro. So that's like straight up the canon is like they I love it. The Pocket Guide to the Empire does say like, oh, but all the border skirmishes to secure the borders to Black Marsh was like a sweeping victory for the Imperium, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
But the quote is like, it's strategically unimportant. We don't need to worry about conquering Black Marsh, basically.
Yeah. You'll notice that the borders of the Black Marsh line up exactly with the native habitat of this flying snake monster. Just like its entire range and like nesting sites is just
migratory
right at the
patterns. Yeah. So Mr. Septim and his armies decide instead, let's march on the dark elf homeland of Morrowind after the Beastmen have been conquered. Following some early skirmishes, a treaty is quickly drafted and signed by Vivek, who led the Tribunal of Morrowind, and Tiber Septim. Part of this,
they have some stuff in common. Vivek as well, if I recall. If you don't want to go back and listen to our episode about it, he is also like a deified mortal, isn't he? The entire Tribunal is.
So they are harvesting the heart of Lorcan.
Yeah.
At the center of Red Mountain to make themselves into gods. Yes, is a major plot point in Morrowind, right?
Yes.
I haven't played it, but I'm pretty sure, I believe the whole story of Morrowind kind of revolves around that fact. And then there's Dagothor, who, if I ever do a Wolfhearth episode, it will tie very closely back to that, and then we'll also tie very closely to Dagothor. Might be the next episode I do. I don't know. Part of this treaty, so they sign a treaty pretty early on. They have a few skirmishes. It's not an all-out war. Then they say, like, you know what? We can find like a treaty that says like we could just be at peace and not have to go to war, basically.
The Dark Elves love enslaving the Beastmen anyway. Like all their moon sugar plantations have either cats or lizards as workers.
Yeah, exactly.
As inconveniently unpaid workers. Excuse me, I want to use the proper term,
right? Part of this treaty involved Vivek turning over the Numidium to Tiber. I believe we talked about the Numidium in the Red Mountain episode, it
is a gigantic robot.
Yeah, giant brass robot. Features in Morrowind, features heavily in Daggerfall as well. It'll feature pretty heavily in our story today. Vivek turns it over to Tiber Septim as part of this, like, hey, don't invade Morrowind. We could have a truce. They agree to be part of the Empire. Essentially, like, we're part of the Empire of Man. But they basically have complete autonomy within Morrowind. So they can kind of do what they want. They're not subject to any Imperial laws. They're just like, on paper, they're part of the Empire. And also, we gave you this big brass robot. We don't have to go to war.
Not a bad deal, honestly.
Yeah. None of the other provinces would get that level of autonomy within the Empire.
Is the Statue of Liberty a big brass a robot or what?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's France's long con. They're going to activate it in 2030.
Yeah. Knocking down New York.
The Numidium, giant robot, was created by the Dwemer, the long-lost dwarf elves. Powered by the Heart of Lorcan, or once powered by the Heart of Lorcan. It was said by some that this towering brass golem stood 1,000 feet tall, which I think is almost 3 times as tall as the Statue of Liberty. Just insanely tall, impossibly big.
Yeah.
The acquisition of such a powerful relic was quite the ace in the sleeve of a man who looked like he was already doing pretty well to conquer all of Tamriel, right?
Yeah.
The only problem was it didn't work, of course. The Numidium's power source, the Heart of Lorcan, like I just mentioned, was kind of being used in secret by the Dunmer leaders to turn themselves into living gods, right? Again, listen to our episode on our episode on the disappearance of the Dwemer and Red Mountain for more on that. I think we talked about it pretty extensively.
Yeah, I mean, it's the entire like all the lore for the dwarves, especially like where they go, is entirely like based on experimentation with the Heart of Lorcan. Like it is central to their entire plot line.
It's the artwork is like a dwarf, like
it is, yeah,
hammering something into the Heart of Lorcan.
Keening, yeah, they have 2 magic tools that is the only things that can damage it too. Yeah,
right,
crazy.
Right. Throughout all of his conquests, Tiber Septim's right-hand man had been a mage of incredible power known as Zurin Arctus. It was Zurin who would be assigned to figure out a way to get the Numidium working. So Arctus, smart man that he was, first created the Totem of Tiber Septim, which is a scepter of control which would let one with the blood of the Septim line command the Numidium before bringing it back to life. So smart guy. Okay. He's like, I'm going to build the kill switch that lets me tell it what to do before I turn this thing back on.
Yeah, very good idea. That is like weirdly responsible as far as like storytelling goes. It's so crazy. That is so crazy.
Yeah, it's a great. I thought it was a great little detail to be like, what a smart thing to do to build the septum specifically first. Actually, the Totem of Tiber Septim at the end of I don't know if it's at the end of Daggerfall. At some point in Daggerfall, you can like choose one of 7 factions to give it to, essentially, as like who wants control of the Numidium in the heart of Lurkin. For the power source, it's not like he could just pop down to the hardware store and grab another heart of a dead and missing god who had sacrificed themselves to create the mortal world some countless millennia ago, right? So he's got a little bit of work to do there. With a few modifications, though, he realizes he doesn't need as much power as the Heart of Lorcan provided. Like that was more energy than the Numidium probably needed to operate. Okay. He does need a big power source, but not that big.
Okay. 9-volt battery will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a nuclear reactor powering a Game Boy Pocket. Yeah. It's like, no, dude, you could AAA would have been all right. Yeah, just put it in there.
You've got like Super Mario Land in reverse, like scorched onto your forehead.
Yeah,
your atomic Game Boy.
The thing didn't even have a backlight back then, but it did when you had it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's hard to hold this thing because like my finger bones on the back of it always get in the way of the screen. You know?
Yeah,
I can't see what Kirby's doing with my finger knuckles in the way. So Arctus discovered that with a soul gem big enough, and just one pretty good soul, he could get this thing going, he thinks. He's pretty excited about it. He tells Tiber Septim, and he makes the gem. He calls it the Mantella, and he uses his own soul to power it. So he cuts out his own heart. I didn't write this down, but it's his own. The soul gem is made from his own heart. Okay. So he takes out his own heart in some sort of ritual, creates this soul gem called the Mantella, very, very powerful soul gem, and then he uses his own soul to power it. That's Imperial Dogma. Just keep that in mind.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah, it's the Mandela effect.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, it's like the Berenstein orcs versus the Bernstein orcs or whatever the fuck it.
Yeah. He didn't actually use his soul. Everyone just repeated it enough that everyone believes it now. It's
the
Mandela effect. Yeah.
Valenwood, home of the Bosmer, or Wood Elves, and next on Tiber's list, had allied itself with Somerset Isle, forming a temporary government known as the Thalmor, consisting of Bosmeri chieftains and Altmeri diplomats. The Thalmor, very recognizable for anyone who played Skyrim. They're the elven antagonists throughout pretty much the whole game.
The black-robed inquisitors of the High Elves, basically. Make sure nobody's praying to Talos or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun that they started as an alliance. No, they weren't just like High Elves. They started as an alliance between Bosmer, Wood Elves, and the Aldmer. I think in this day and age, they're almost entirely Aldmer High Elves, but when they first formed, it was out of necessity. It was like an alliance to try and fend off the Empire. Again, High Elves being the way that they are in the Elder Scrolls, like they're on Somerset Isle. They were always going to be really difficult to conquer anyway. And so, like, by bolstering the Bosmer, who are Valenwood is on land, right? Like, it's on land proper. They just made it like they just taxed a little bit more resources before they knew that they would have to fight Tiber Septim, right? They're like kind of like, yeah, we're totally an alliance, guys. We got your back. We'll send you some arms and stuff, but we're not going to overcommit ourselves to protecting your little.
It's
forest.
A responsible proxy war just to see what's up, right? Getting their little proxy war toes wet.
Yeah. So beyond Valenwood was the Somerset Isle off the shore. Confronted with the Numidium, neither nation could stand long before Tiber's armies. And just like that, like he eventually conquers them. It's written that Tiber Septim's armies really struggle with Somerset Isle. Just they don't have the navy for it. Like they've been marching around. All of Tamriel is a single continent that you can march everywhere. And he was kind of at the center in Cyrodiil, so it was very convenient to march everywhere if he needed to. Like the center of operations was right in the middle. Somerset Isle is the exception to that rule, right? It's kind of like, think of Europe. It is the UK, where you have to sail there. And as the real England did prove a powerful navy can make you a very strong force in the world, even if you're a tiny island nation.
Yeah, exactly. What can the Numidium do? Do we know? Like, does it have like magic laser eyes, or is it just a big stompy robot that just?
In my mind, it's Liberty Prime from Fallout. Like, it's just walking around stomping people, and
Cool.
It is just it's a giant robot as far as I know. It's probably magical. Again, it's powered by like magic, so there's some magic to it. But no, we don't ever get a clear when it like this is the reconstructed Numidium, right? Like there was the original Numidium, which was created by the Dwemer, and we never really see it in action. And this is sort of a recreated one. So maybe it had laser eyes at one point. They don't work anymore. We never got that technology again, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just Christmas lights now. They were just like, well,
yeah.
the little blinky red and blue lights are just like, it scares
ho,
people.
ho, ho.
Yeah,
Walking,
we gotta make
walking through the ocean to Somerset Isle.
They had to make the thing run on
over
less
its shoulder, full of troops.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, they had to cut the power somewhere, right? So they took the laser eyes out. They put the Christmas lights in, so it can run on something less than the heart of a god. And
just on the back of the Numidium, there's like there's a single power outlet with 2 outlets on it, and then there's like 6 different power bars like plugged into that with a bunch of different plugs like plugged in, and it's like sparking all the time and smoking. Like, it's clearly overloaded.
All connected to the soul gem too. It's just like no one else knows. They're just like, so Mantella, this is, or what was his name? Sorry,
the wizard, Arctis Zurin.
Arctic Zura is like, and you call this what? It's like, I call this the Mantella, and yeah, it is just like a bunch of like smoking, sparking power bars all plugged into the back of this fucking thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a fuse panel, right? And they got like the soul gem screwed in like as the fuse, and then underneath they just have a penny so that it never actually like trips the fuse.
Piece of masking tape over one. It just says laser eyes. It's just so you can't.
So just like that, the freshly anointed Tiber Septim had conquered all of Tamriel under the Imperial banner.
Especially the Black Marsh.
Especially the Black Marsh. Definitely did it really good. And thus ends the second era, ushering in the third. That is, of course, the official account. But now let's do a little dipping into heresy, do our own research, and you boys can decide what to believe.
Okay.
That is, of course.
Tiber Septim says you can drink your own pee and not vaccinate your kids. That's what my research has showed.
Find out if you should drink your own pee after the break. Welcome back. We were just discussing why you shouldn't trust the government when they tell you not to drink your pee. We're gonna dive into the alternate history now for where the Great Tiber Septim may have come from. The source is an in-game book known as the Arcturian Heresy. Careful listeners will recognize Zurin Arctis, Arcturian. There's something there.
Oh, okay, of course, yeah.
First appearing in Morrowind, then again in Skyrim, the Arcturian Heresy tells the story of King Wulfhart after the events of another in-game book, The 5 Songs of King Wulfharth. I believe in Skyrim, there's a quest where you go and recover one of King Wulfhart's things. I think it's the quest where you go into the dungeon, and then like it's supposed to like you loot the body and instantly like it's a trap and like the gates close around you, and then you have to go through the entire dungeon. Like you go into his tomb and he's kind of right there at the front, and then you loot him, and then like everything closes around you. But I didn't actually verify if that's true or not. One little fun fact, I guess, is that in Morrowind, when you find this book, the Arcturian Heresy, there's no author accredited to it, but there is a chapter heading essentially called Izmir the Underking. In Skyrim, when you find the book, it is written by Izmir the Underking, who is Wulfharth himself.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just looking up pulling up the clip here to see if there was a quest, but it did. The first thing is he has become known as the Underking or the Ash King, which is very cool.
Yeah, Ash King as well. Again, I could do a full story on him. We won't do a full story on him. Know that, we won't do a full story on him today Anyway, excuse me, Jesus. That break really took it out of me. King Wulfharth, also known as Izmir, Dragon of the North, a name you might recognize that Tiber Septim himself took when he crowned himself king, and later known as the Underking, was an ancient Nord king around which many myths swirl. There is some contention about who the Underking is. I have what I think is some fun Lore Boys canon that we can talk about at the end of all this, okay? But for now, know that when I'm saying Underking, I'm referring to Wolfhearth. He was an ancient Nord king around which there are a lot of myths that swirl. He's done a few amazing things. And again, like this is Tiber Septim took his name when he crowned himself king, right? Which just adds to the kind of conspiracy here. But he's done a few amazing things. He possessed a Thuum so powerful that he couldn't be sworn into office. The scribes just had to like write down anything that he wanted to say, essentially.
Oh, that's cool.
I guess to be sworn into office, you have to perform a shout, and his were just too powerful, so that he couldn't do it. He helped.
That's hilarious. Imagine like I don't know the founders of America going to sign that thing and their pens are too strong. They
Keep
just
ripping through the
it all
paper.
apart.
It's like the founding fathers and they're like, they're like 3-piece coats or whatever. They have the vest and like the buttons underneath, and then just like they've ripped through all the arms because they're just fucking swole as hell. They got like a dumbbell in one arm, like a huge feathered quill in the other arm. Like.
They call me John Hancock, but I can't actually put my cock.
Yeah.
It's like too wide.
Yeah.
They call this. We're gonna say we the people because I got the strength of 10 men. Okay. So he had a Thuum so powerful he couldn't be. These are myths around King Wolfhearth. Again, this comes from this little bit here comes from the 5 songs of King Wolfhearth. Maybe we could do a full episode on him if people are interested. But he helps Shor, the Nord name for Lorcan, defeat Alduin in a myth. He shouts an orc chief straight into hell. Mythic shit, right? Again,
Incredible.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, makes sense that Tiber Septim would take his name as or this name. I believe a lot of Nordic kings have taken Izmir, Dragon of the North, as their name as well, but I don't know if Wolfhearth was the first or not. The 5 songs end with Wolfhearth traveling to the Red Mountain to try and rescue Shor, Lorcan, only to be betrayed by the tricksy Chimer Dagoth Ur. So again, if I did an episode on him, it would tie heavily into that stuff. One other actually myth about him is that he dies at some point and is reborn as Ash. That's why he's the king of Ash or whatever you call them there.
Oh, okay. Going to the Red Mountain is something I would have guessed because the nickname the Ash King, and I know Numidium is inside the mountain when you find it in Morrowind, which I think takes place like 300 years after this because it's like towards the end of the Third Era. Okay. Like the jump between the first 4 Elder Scrolls games are all set within the same like 30 years, I think. Yeah, and then Skyrim is just blasted off 2 centuries for some reason.
Yeah.
But like the Red Mountain has erupted multiple times. So like like Solstheim has like a shared border between Morrowind and Skyrim, so that kind of all makes sense. When you go to Solstheim in Skyrim, in one of the expansions, it's post-eruption, and one of the coasts has all those like blasted down trees, and you can see off in the distance the volcano has erupted. So Solstheim is like partially like, it's like Iceland. It's very like ice and ash kind of combined, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's it's kind of like just a major island off of Morrowind, right? Mm-hmm. So he's made of ash at some point in the myths, and again, like our source for the first story is Imperial Doctrine, and it's just like it is straight up propaganda pamphlets, right? The source for this one is like myths and skald songs of this king, right? There was these 5 songs of King Wolfhearth. Then there's this book, the Arcturian Heresy, which seems to tell the story of what happened to Wolfhearth after the 5 songs of King Wolfhearth. And in the game Skyrim, it's said that he wrote this. So the most current, I guess, game says that he wrote this tale. So I probably believe the myth of a man written by himself over the over state propaganda, because that's how you have to live your life, you know?
Yeah.
So he is made of ash. He's been turned to ash, and he's kind of this like he gets blown to ash a couple times. So he's turned to ash, not for the first time, and it's centuries later that he is awoken once more. Sorry, he's turned to ash after he's betrayed by Dagoth Ur, and he kind of he slumbers as ash. So he kind of is unformed. He's just ash, and he will reform from time to time as this like ash man, a man made of ash who can like walk around, but his spirit kind of like lives on throughout, and he persists, I guess. He doesn't die.
It's pretty wicked. It's kind of like Sauron a little bit, right? Who's kind of just like an evil vibe at the time of the Lord of the Rings films and books.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just watching a thing about Sauron this week, and Tolkien never actually confirmed a form for him. They said why. I watched a thing on why the ring was on the outside of his armor when his finger was cut off, and in the books, it actually wasn't cut off by the guy until after he was dead. And in the books, they never even say he has armor. It's just how it was pictured in the films. He's more just kind of a dark figure.
He's basically just like the idea of evil, right? He's like an evil. He's an evil.
Yeah. He's an ash man,
Exactly.
a man of ash. Yeah,
I'm much more of a tits man.
Yeah, we're all piss men.
Yeah.
So here's a quote from the Arcturian Heresy. It is the rumbling of the graybeards that wake him. Though the empire has crumbled, there are rumors that a chosen one will come to restore it. This new emperor will defeat the elves and rule a united Tamriel. Naturally, Wulfharth thinks he is the figure of prophecy. He goes directly to High Hrothgar to hear the graybeards speak. When they do, Ysmir is blasted to ash again. He is not the chosen one. It is a warrior youth from High Rock. As the Grey Wind goes to find this boy, he hears the Greybeard's warning. Remember the color of betrayal, King Wulfharth.
Oh my god. Imagine going up and you're an ash man and you're like, okay, tell me the voice. They're like, Foo's right. Not that one. Yeah, just scattered to ash off a
Mr. Stark.
Like...
It is great. Where he's just like, he was a king. He did lead his people to do like incredible things. And they had gone to like recapture the body of Shor, whom the Nords like worship as sort of the of the 8 divines. Lorcan is the one who like clearly cared about man the most, and he created the mortal world for mortals. Like he seemed to care about mortals generally the most, right? So like they served him, and they were basically going to. There's like a few stories where like they rescue him. They're trying to recover his body and give him his body back, and like part of that is going to Red Mountain. Dagothur says go to Red Mountain. They get betrayed there, so like his people die. He gets blown to ash for like the second or third time, and then just like lying dormant for centuries. Then he hears the Greybeards being like, "Hey, wake up, dude! Come to the mountain. We got something to tell you." And then he gets there, and they just blow him to ash again. Be like, "No, not you, idiot!" Like, God. The quote continues. The Western Reach was at war. Cuchulainn, the king of Falkreath and West Cyrodiil, was in a bad situation. To make any bid at unifying the Colovian estates, he needed to secure his northern border, where the Nords and Reachmen had been fighting for centuries. He allies with Skyrim at the Battle of Old Hroldan. Leading his forces was Hajatli Earlybeard. Hajatli was from the island kingdom of Alcair in High Rock and would become Tiber Septim, the first emperor of Tamriel.
They really did name him after going through puberty at 14.
Right? Going through puberty at 14. 14 to start getting a beard, but like, I feel like it's like 8 years old. He's like
8 years
just
old,
rocking a 5 o'clock shadow all the time, so like from these apocryphal tomes, this apocryphal tome, it claims that Tiber Septim is not from Atmora, but instead he's from High Rock. Again, I think it's interesting that the propaganda and this story share similarities, right? Where like the Greybeards do speak of somebody who will, like a man who will come and unite all all men. Like they do recognize, both stories recognize Tiber Septim was destined to be the emperor, right? Like he was destined to be the one to unite man under a single banner and like have the empire under him. They both have him serving Cuchulainn in Falkreath as well. As a general, right? Like that's kind of where the first histories come, and both stories have him like, yep, that's where he was, that's what he was doing. I think High Rock is a particularly interesting suggestion. And it's my Lore Boys canon, because we said it at the beginning. High Rock is home of the Bretons, who are half-elves, right? They have elven blood in them. So like this guy who wants to unite humans and like drive all the elves out of Tamriel to be like part elf, at least to some degree, as a Breton, I just think is like the Imperial records would be like, no, we have to scrub that. He has to be from Atmora, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He's gonna go invade High Rock
later,
exactly. After the 9/11.
They're gonna invent weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Yeah, it is Operation Hierarchy Freedom, isn't it? Right?
So he was born in Alcair, this city in High Rock, as Hajatli Earlybeard, and had an uneventful life up to when he would come to serve under King Cuchulainn, just as the official imperial story told. So
A lot of
Our
myth
old-
making in real life also takes bits and pieces from stuff you've already heard, right?
Yeah.
Flood. We've talked about this a
Exactly.
million times. Flood myths, whatever,
Yeah.
apocalypses.
I mean,
Virgin birth is big in a couple, right?
yeah. One of the big arguments for why like this account that he's from Alcair might be true is that like Alcair traces this celebration of his providence back to like before that the pamphlet came out saying he was from Atmora, right? Like Alcair has celebrated like the birth of Tiber Septim since he first became the emperor, like before he started printing propaganda pamphlets, essentially.
I see. Okay, right.
Where they had like a we're the Emperor Town festival every single year, and then all of a sudden these pamphlets came out saying he's not from. I don't even go there. Our old king Wolfhearth was raised from the dead by the Greybeard's call, only to be blasted to ash for the third time in his existence. The Greybeards give him the "not you dummy," but then add on a "well, you can at least help the true savior of men," right? As the Arcturian heresy tells it, Tiber Septim, called Hajatli Earlybeard, never actually possessed a Thu'um himself. Instead, he was backed up by the spirit of Wolfhearth. So he had Wolfhearth, this under king, as he will come to be called, who did have the power of the voice. And so like all his like shouting down opposing armies and stuff like that is like he had a guy in his retinue. Like the Dragonborn served him, but Tiber Septim himself was not Dragonborn, didn't possess a Thu'um.
Interesting. Okay, that would explain also how. I mean, that also kind of it goes back and like explains the propaganda where it's like, well, I can't do dragon shouts anymore, guys.
Yep. We'll get to that specifically. Don't worry about why.
Yeah. I can only do dragon shouts when I'm twice as tall and wearing a really big trench coat. And I'll open my trench coat just to do a dragon shout, and I'll close it really quick.
Yeah, I do it from my navel.
Yeah, would he be on the ashy guy's shoulders so he would leave like a snail trail of dust everywhere he goes? Basically,
for sure. He couldn't be the ashy guy's head at the top of the trench coat.
No.
Hajatli's newfound, again, I'm going to say Hajatli sometimes now, it's Talos, it's Tiber Septim, all the same person. Hajatli's newfound invisible posse became apparent to all at the Battle of Old Herolden. Here's a quote from the Arcturian heresy. Hajatli was a shrewd tactician, and his small band of Colovian troops and Nord berserkers broke the Reachman line, forcing them back beyond the gates of Old Herolden. A siege seemed impossible, as Hajatli could expect no reinforcements from Falkreath. That night, a storm came and visited Hajatli's camp. It spoke with him in his tent. At dawn, Hajatli went up to the gates, and the storm followed just above his head. Arrows could not penetrate the winds around him. He shouted down the walls of Old Herolden, and his men poured in. After their victory, the Nords called Hajatli Talos, or Storm Crown.
Cool.
So this storm, the storm in the story, is the spirit of Wolfhearth. He's able to manifest as a storm. He's able to manifest as an ashman, or he's able to just be like an invisible spirit, it seems like. Cool. He's protecting Hajatli on behalf of the Greybeards, and he's using his shouts to help our Emperor to be create a legend for himself. So he's specifically like he is leaning into you tell everyone it's your Thu'um, like that's how you're going to become the Emperor of Man, is only if like the Nords believe that you have the Thu'um is the only way you're going to get away with it. So I'm going to just like be invisible, do the Thu'um, and pretend it is you this whole time.
Right. And behind every great man is a powerful dust man. I think the old saying.
So the story in the Arcturian heresy continues just as the official doctrine, with Cuchulainn and his nigh invincible general marching on the capital of Cyrodiil to conquer the imperial throne and declare the third empire of man. Before Cuchulainn can be crowned, however, Hajatli murders his boss and his boss's most loyal followers. The assassinations are blamed on Cuchulainn's enemies, of course, High Rock. And he sets the place on fire, right? Zurin Arctis, one of Hajatli's most loyal followers, crowns him as Tiber Septim, new emperor of all Cyrodiil. So again, we know that Zurin Arctis is one of his closest advisors, and he was there on the night when all these close followers of King Cuchulainn died. He doesn't get assassinated. My bet is like co-conspirator, right? Makes no sense.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. If I help you, will you finally put my soul in a big robot? I've always wanted to be a big robot.
Here's the thing. Will it be Zurin Arctis' soul in the robot? We don't know. They march on the east. Here's a quote. They march on the east. The battle mages surrender before their armies, and they take the citadel. Before Khulakane can be crowned, Hajatli secretly murders him and his loyalist contingent. These assassinations are blamed on the enemies of Khulakane, which, for political reasons, are still the Western Reach. Zurin Arctis, the Grand Battle Mage, not the Underking, then crowns Hajatli as Tiber Septim, new emperor of all Cyrodiil. After he captures the Imperial throne, Septim finds the initial administration of a fully united Cyrodiil a time-consuming task. He sends the Underking to deal with Imperial expansion into Skyrim and High Rock. Ysmir, mindful that it might seem as if Tiber Septim is in two places at once, works behind the scenes. This period of level-headed statesmanship and diplomacy, this sudden silence, heretofore unknown in the roaring tales of Talosian conquest, are explained away later. The assassination story is embroidered. Now it is popularly Talos' own throat that was cut.
Okay. Wait, so there's two presidents? So there's not a second shooter. There's a second president.
There's a second president on the grassy knoll. I mean, straight up. So again, like you called it, Pete, the explaining of like why his voice doesn't work, even though he doesn't have the scar on his throat, is because he had to send Ysmir, who had his shout, to the north to conquer High Rock and Skyrim, right? And again, like he would never have conquered the Nords if he didn't have the voice. So he's like, yeah, you definitely got to be the one to go up there and like unify them because you have the voice, and I will stay here in Cyrodiil and tell people that I can't shout anymore. My doctor's orders, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Ysmir, through all this, has a clear focus, the one given to him by the Greybeards: conquer Tamriel for humanity. So again, he's like Ysmir is not like, oh, it should have been me on the throne, you know, or whatever. He's not resentful or bitter about serving. He is like, the Greybeards told me, help this guy conquer Tamriel. I trust the Greybeards, so that's what I'm going to do, right?
He's a military contractor, right? He's just like, hey, war is an opportunity, baby.
No,
like,
he's like a true patriot. He is like, yeah, like he's like, I believe that man should rule all of Tamriel, and the Greybeard said this guy can do it. He is like, through and through a lackey. He's not doing it for money. He's like, I am a patriot. I will do whatever boss says, kind of thing.
Okay.
There is one personal drive for him, though. There is one thing that he would really, really, really like to do. He kind of has this burning desire for vengeance, right? We remember that Ysmir had been betrayed by the Chimere, Dagoth-Ur, and eventually, like, those people would become the Dunmer of Morrowind. He was betrayed by the Dark Elves in Morrowind, right?
Yeah. Okay.
His people were slaughtered there, and he wants revenge, right?
And he was turned to dust several times. Like,
yeah. Good news. We're conquering Tamriel, right? Like, we'll get there. And we'll get to extract our vengeance, right? That's the big thing. Tiber Septim, however, has heard of the tribunal's godlike powers and doesn't really think it's such a good idea to go like directly head to head with them. It's said it's the vast material riches in Morrowind which eventually persuade him, specifically the ebony. Morrowind is very, very rich in ebony.
Right.
Ebony in real life is a tree. It's a wood. In the Elder Scrolls, it's volcanic glass. I don't know why they didn't call it obsidian when there's already a name for black volcanic glass. I don't know if they just got it wrong at some point and have been writing that forever, but it's also called God's Blood. It's like I think the strongest, like not extra planar material, right? Like Daedric armor is stronger, but I think like ebony is the first like naturally, maybe Dragonbone armor is stronger, but
dragons are from outside of time as well, right?
Also,
I think you are right.
Is this the strongest like earthly material is this ebony stuff, and Morrowind's rich in it. So that is eventually what persuades Tiber Septim to, in this account, to invade Morrowind in the first place. He's like seems to kind of be like,
it's never been done. I said for black gold, it's never been done.
Yeah, exactly. He it's really like, I do love the Imperial dogma being like, no, he was like absolutely out to completely conquer everything except for Black Marsh. And then the although for Black Marsh they say specifically like, yeah, it's not important though. Nobody cares about Black Marsh.
Yeah.
Which is also true because the Argonians just kind of vibe down there anyway.
Yeah.
But
you'll never be able to convince the Lizardmen to become communists. I'm not worried about. We don't need to invade.
You can't build condos on the marsh anyways. There's no money to be made. Like let's
get some nice swamp front property. Flying snakes everywhere.
just love it. Versus this account where it's like, as soon as he becomes like the king of men, he's kind of just like in the Imperial city. He's like, we need to invade anyone. This seems like a lot of work now, you know? Ysmir suggests that Tiber could steal the power of the tribunal once they were dead and use that to conquer Somerset. So he says like, they're turning themselves into gods with the Heart of Lorkhan, which we were going to Red Mountain to reclaim whenever we were betrayed. if you can do it this time, you can reclaim the heart of Lorcan. You can turn yourself into a god, and you could use that to conquer Tamriel, specifically Somerset, which again is going to be the thorn in his side and the most difficult thing to conquer, right?
Right.
Tiber at this point is uninterested in conquering the Altmer. He wants to send Zur and Arctis on a mission of diplomacy to just sue for peace with the High Elves and be like, we're going to control all of continental Tamriel, and you guys can keep Somerset. Is Tiber Septim's plan at the point, again according to this account.
Yeah. And
in the
if
end,
you want to like construct a navy, it was very much either diplomacy or steal a giant robot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In the end, he does invade for the Ebony, but as in the official accounts, quickly creates a truce and lets the Dunmer continue their religion, their everything, their way of life, their like sapping of this god who Izmir died trying to recover, like to turn themselves into gods. Izmir is furious, obviously. He believes that this is the betrayal that the Greybeards had warned him about when they spoke to him. They said, forget not the color of betrayal. He'd been betrayed by Dagoth. Now he believes that he's being betrayed by Tiber Septim.
Is it black? Is it like because of the ebony and the dark elves? Is the color of betrayal black?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that was going to be revealed at some point. Maybe that's too corny for the writing.
No, I don't think it's like a literal color. I think it's like a I don't think there's an actual color to betrayal. I think it's just like a flowery way of writing.
No, I think it was a metaphor of like where he would be betrayed multiple times, right?
Oh no, yeah, I don't think he's not. I don't think it's dark elves. It's not dark elves again. It's this time it's a man, right? A man from High Rock, a Breton. He abandons Tiber and the Empire completely, leaving the Emperor with no real way of conquering the rest of Tamriel. Because again, he doesn't have his shouts. People he could probably hold on to his control, but who knows for how long. The Imperial seat has had people claim it before, and they've always kind of crumbled. So people are kind of like, would this actually be the third empire of man? Who knows? So he has no way to conquer all of Tamriel until Zur and Arctis discovers a way to power the Numidium. So just as in the Imperial accounts, part of the treaty was the tribunal of Morrowind handing over this giant brass golem to Tiber Septim, which didn't work because they had the power source, right? But just as in the official accounts, Zur and Arctis, his battle mage, does find a way to power it. The exact same way. You need a very, very, very powerful soul gem made from my own heart, and we need a powerful soul to drive it. Tiber Septim, around this time, when he's like, hey, I'm still going to conquer all of Tamriel, reaches out to Izmir, says, baby, I was wrong. I need you back. You were right. Let's kill the tribunal. Come on. Come with me to Morrowind, baby. We're going there. We're going to kill the tribunal.
Oh, no.
Wolfhearth, the naive lovebird, believes Tiber and comes back with his Nordic army. Here's a quote from the Arcturian Heresy. The Underking arrives and is ambushed by Imperial guards. As he takes them on, Zur and Arctis uses a soul gem on him. With his last breath, the Underking's heart roars a hole through the battle mage's chest. In the end, everyone is dead. The Underking has reverted back to ash, and Tiber Septim strolls in to take the soul gem. When the Elder Council arrives, he tells them about the second attempt on his life, this time by his trusted battle mage Zur and Arctis, who is attempting a coup. He has the dead guards celebrated as heroes, even the one who is blasted to ash. He warns Cyrodiil about the dangers within, but he says he has a solution to the dangers without, the Mantella. So, sum that all up. Wolfhearth comes back. It's his soul that is captured by the Mantella and used to power the Numidium, according to this account. Zur and Arctis has a hole blasted through his chest, so presumably dead, right? Heavy on the presumably there.
Yeah, his heart's already been taken out, if you recall both stories. So.
Straight up it, yeah. So Tiber Septim says, hey, Zur and Arctis betrayed me. That's what happened here. Nothing to see, folks. He was attempting a coup.
And the guy that helped me so much so far, that was actually me who did everything by myself all this time.
On this shiny rock, which I made myself.
Yeah, and I enslave the guy who helped me so much and came back to me when I finally asked him, and I'll enslave him to run.
The fact that you guys killed each other really tied up all his loose ends. Like everything really came up Tiber in this case, right? Like, the two people who knew all my secrets have killed each other. That's funny.
So Tiber Septim then leads his forces with the Numidium at their fore against the Altmer of Somerset and conquers all of Tamriel.
Yeah,
his fabled bronze giant is confronted at some point after the Battle of Somerset Isle. A rotting, undead wizard who seems to control the skies. Turns out a hole in the chest isn't enough to keep old Zur and Arctis down. When creating the Mantella, the soul gem used to capture Wolfheart's soul, Zurin had used his own heart in the process, though Tiber Septim would claim it was his heart that controlled the Numidium. So to your point, Jamie, he was going around telling people like, yeah, I took out my own heart and put it in the Numidium. Zurin Arctis did, according to this account, was powering the Numidium. Zurin had not died when Wolfheart struck him down, but had lived on as a revenant. It was only after Tiber had conquered all of Tamriel, when he turned the Numidium on neutral royal houses to secure his reign, that Zurin realized he had to be stopped. So Zurin had served him all these years faithfully. Even after he died, I don't know what you hear as a revenant when a hole was just blasted through your chest. But like, even if like official stories was that Zurin Arctis had betrayed him, like that wasn't enough to drive Zurin Arctis, this revenant mage, mad and go to kill his old boss. It was when he turned it on like innocent people who like might not support his reign in the future, right? Was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Zurin gets his hole blasted in his chest. He's like, Tiber, if you still really know me and trust me, and I'll trust you if you could just guess the number of fingers that are on my back.
Straight through.
A big old hole in his chest. Yeah, he's like 3. He's like, oh, okay, you're still cool. Yeah.
Wow, you always did get me.
It's funny. I also imagined it as a perfectly circular hole punched straight through his chest like a bowling ball. Yes.
Tiber's just there like, no, Zurin, you've got it all wrong, man. You have to understand. I felt like there's been a hole in my chest since you. I mean, I really feel like a part of me's been missing since you've been gone. Okay. My lore boys canon here. So again, this is the Arcturian heresy, apparently written by Wolfhearth, who claims to be the Underking. This tome, the Arcturian heresy, is the tome that claims Wolfhearth was ever the Underking. The Underking is a character in Daggerfall. He's like he is this like revenant mage flying around, essentially, right?
Oh, okay, cool. He's the guy on the box, because I know I've not played much Daggerfall. It's free, available for everybody. You can just get it on Steam for free. It's got a Unity version now. The box art is like what I would assume was a lich, like a zombie wizard.
Could be. This is the zombie. Excuse me, jeez Louise, too much water. This zombie wizard is a zombie wizard, I guess, and it isn't Daggerfall. I don't know what the box looks like, but
oh, okay.
My lore boys canon, the Underking in Daggerfall is Zurin Arctis. The Underking before all these events was Wolfhearth, and he kind of took it on as like a mantle. So it was Wolfhearth who was the Underking, and was destroyed or did have his soul captured in the Mantella. And then eventually when he dies and Zurin sees that, he was right all along to not believe in Tiber Septim, we should never have betrayed him, then Zurin takes on the mantle of, I am the Underking, right? I am Batman. I am Batman, I am Spartacus, etc., etc. So Zurin and the Numidium just would destroy each other, and the Mantella would be lost in the sea, though some say it fell into Aetherius, or like the immortal plane heaven, essentially. The Mantella itself, maybe just too powerful to remain in the mortal realm in the sea.
Okay.
Whichever story you believe, the Second Era draws to a close, and Tiber Septim lives to the ripe old age of 108, the richest man in all of history.
Not bad.
You sent 2 pictures. That is the Underking, yeah. So again, I haven't played it. I don't know how heavily he's featured. He is one of the people. The Underking in Daggerfall is one of the people you can give the Totem of Tiber Septim to.
Okay.
One of like the factions is the Underking. You can give it to him and be like, you use it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the story of Tiber Septim, the mortal man. Who knows if he's divine, if he's truly divine, if he actually did ascend to godhood after he was dead, or if he's just worshipped. How does worship work in the Elder Scrolls? Who knows? Must be a topic for another episode.
But for all of you who are listening to this in the future, in a few years and stuff, when Ethan and Peter aren't around, I actually wrote this whole episode, and I did all the work for
That's true.
it, and this was all mine. So yeah,
JB did write it all for me. And I'm gonna say that right up until I realized it was a bad idea to say it all along.
I believe Jamie personally. I'll go off on any mission he needs me to do.
Yeah, I'm only doing it because a vagrant man told me that I should trust him.
The graybeards outside of McDonald's with the cup.
Graybeards at 2 a.m. outside of McDonald's. They do a lot of shouting. I'll give them that. I've been your host, Ethan Palmer. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. If you want to help support the show, consider leaving us a rating or review on your podcast app of choice or telling your friends or family. It's the only way we make the show grow, and it really does mean the world to us when you're able to share. Jamie, you want to talk about your stream? Anything else?
Twitch.tv/LoreboyJames. Come every Tuesday. We're starting to get a nice crowd. We were up to like some record numbers this Tuesday for the last little while. So come on, keep this snowball a rolling and join the community. So lots of people chatting there. It's a nice little thing we do around 7 or 8 p.m. EST on Tuesdays. Lots of cool people. You can get me on the Tuesday, your episode on the Wednesday, and then a bonus on the Thursday if you're a patron. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nothing on Friday. That's my day. I'm offline. That's private.
Peter, do you have anything you wanna shout out?
Yeah, at Lore Boys Podcast on Instagram. Come say hi. Check out our pictures. Patreon.com/TheLoreBoys. Tons of bonus episodes, like Jamie said, but also a 20-page preview of the comic I was working on for a while. So that's out and ready. Let me know what you think, either via Instagram or Discord. Those are the two social media platforms I use. Yeah, and that's it. That's it for me, Art Boy.
Cool. Shout out Nova Twitker, who joined the Patreon 30 minutes ago.
As we were recording, I saw
TW Tiger
Oh,
Septum.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very
Nova
good timing.
They're an Australian furry streamer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for supporting the show. If you don't trust Lore Boys Prime, we have a Patreon. If you don't trust Patreon, we have a Lore Boys Prime. We are, always looking for ways to innovate and improve here. We do need a fourth Lore Boy, so we'll be holding auditions in the coming days. We need a fourth one just to hang out on grassy knolls near events that we conduct. Basically, just keeping an eye out, making sure that we have a fourth president around, just in case. Just a quick stand-in if ever, something should happen to one of us. I don't know, like if one of us really loses our head, it'd be great to just have a fourth stand-in able to just hop in at a moment's notice and kind of take things over, right?
Yeah.
That's an extra head to look out for like barrels sticking out of bushes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
If we ever start speaking out against all the very lucrative private defense contracts that we've taken, the Lore Boys LLC has taken, and somebody decides that, maybe one of us needs to be replaced, it'd be really great to have a backup just kind of lined up for that. So feel free to send your demo reels, your audition tapes, loreboyspodcast@gmail.com. And
you got a corner office too over at Lore Boys HQ. It's back and to the left when you walk in, so don't worry about that.
Wait, why did they get my office? Do you guys know something that I know? And I think that would cost you a Lore Boys.
Lore Boys.